And welcome to Impact 2024, our continuing conversation where we talk about everything from race, religion, current events, politics, everything. And this is your safe place to be able to communicate in this conversation by typing your questions and your comments into the comment section. So you, you participate in the process by typing in your comments, typing in your questions, letting your voice be known or be heard, and wherever you want to say it. As I've been doing recently, I want to make sure that I highlight the other offerings that we have going on right at the beginning. So, as you are here now, this is Impact 2024. On Thursday, we have Thursday Thirst, our weekly Bible study. That's at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time right here on Facebook and YouTube. On Sundays at 10 Eastern Standard Time, we have worship service at 10 o'clock. So please join us on Facebook and YouTube as well. And then today, Tuesdays at 7 o'clock, we have prayer from 7 to 7:45. We ask that you go ahead and pray with us. You don't have to necessarily call in or do anything like that. If you have a prayer request or prayer concern, you can definitely call in. But just you pray, same time we're praying. So we're all praying together. Not from the whole time, just any time between 7 and 7:45. And if you want to pray the whole time or even go longer, please feel free to. There's no need to cut your prayer short. All right. And so, as always, we hop into our topics. But right before then, I know if you're looking right now, you're like, man, where's the guest? Where's the guest? And pretty much for the summer, we haven't really pulled in a lot of guests. Actually, for the summertime, I think we only pulled in one guest, maybe two, but I think it was only one guest for the summer. We will have guests coming back, working on some guests, and we will have guests coming back. So don't feel like, oh my goodness, they've changed the format. It's only no guests, and it's just going to be talking. But no, we will have guests again soon. So just want to put that out there and let you know. All right, so let's hop into the topic that we have today. This one is an interesting one. This one is less controversial or heavy. It's a little bit lighter than we do sometimes. So let's hop right to it. Young people. This is where this came from. Young people, communicating with a lot of young people. Talking to them and kind of seeing where they're at, what's important to them. And one of the things, if you know, or if you hang around young people, a lot of young people, there's a section or a group of folk who are big into fashion and clothes. And the dynamic is weird with young people. We're either wearing something very expensive or we're wearing something very cheap. And this is not for everybody. This is just for the young people that fit into this category, which is a nice size number from what I've seen. So if you're sitting back saying, well, my young person doesn't fit into this category, well, you're probably right. But one of the trends that's been going on is that they're either dressed up nice or they're not. So they're either wearing some designer clothing or they're wearing t-shirts and sweatpants, cheap t-shirts and sweatpants. Not doesn't even have to be, expensive or nice. One of the things that's different, I think, with this newer generation or with the younger generation that's coming up is that the items that they wear are designer. Used to have those kids. You would have dynamics when I was young. You'd have those kids who, they came from some money. And so they're going to wear designer stuff. While the rest of us, we're wearing regular stuff. Maybe have a label here, maybe have a designer thing once in a while. But on a regular basis, you're just wearing regular clothes. If you're going to wear a t-shirt, it's not going to be something, expensive. It's just going to be a t-shirt. You're going to have pants, you're going to have jeans, you're going to have shoes, you're going to have, within reason. What it's expensive because you may buy some Jordans that cost $100 or something like that. That was back then. But it wasn't like you were going out here buying, these designer shoes with designer names from Europe and Paris and France and all that kind of stuff. But now it's different. It's changed. The numbers and the categories of what they buy clothing in is now very, very different. They're looking at shoes where they're going and buying shoes that are $400, $500, $1,000 a pair. They're looking at now clothing items where you're buying t-shirts T-shirts or just nice shirts, $100 for a shirt, $200 for a shirt. They're buying jackets and other little things, and they're being very specific with knowing who the designers are and going out and buying and purchasing them for exorbitant prices. So much so that there's even a secondary market, not the secondary market like the thrift store where many people would go. We would be able to find designer clothes and nice little deals, but a thrift store on like eBay or all of these stores out here where they have authentication to make sure that the items are real, that the items are genuine. And so you have clothing items that cost thousands of dollars that are then being resold for the hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and they have to be authenticated and made sure. And so the market it's for these types of clothing has become ridiculous. It's very lucrative, and it's a lot of things going on. The shoe market where they're selling shoes and reselling shoes. So you're buying shoes for a couple $100s and you're reselling them for a couple $100. The price of some shoes that are used are going up. People are wearing used shoes a lot. There's a big market for used shoes. Something that seems crazy to me, but that is what they're doing. And this is again, this is not a market out of necessity. When we're talking about we're going to Goodwill, we're going to other places. Some people are going because they're shopping, and people give away some really nice clothing. So I might want to find some designer things here and there if you're that type of person. But a lot of people go to Goodwills because it's out of more so necessity. Those clothes are cheaper. You can get some good quality clothes at an inexpensive price. Now these thrift stores I'm trying to get designer clothes so that I can keep up with the times, keep up with the fashion, be right in there. And why is this important? Why am I talking about this? Why is this a thing? Before I get there, it's important, and it's not just young people. So we've always had sections and groups of people who spend exorbitant amounts of money on clothes, exorbitant amounts of money on just things, period. And it's because you got it. And so they said, well, if you got the money, go ahead and spend it. I'm a guy who likes a good suit. And the reasonableness of it is you can buy a suit, and I would say you buy a suit and it's expensive, but you're going to keep it for years and years and years. And some of these things that these other people are getting, tennis shoes, sneakers, jeans, T-shirts, you're paying $1,000 for them, and they're not lasting years and years and years. Again, but you can put some of these things back in the market, purses and all this stuff. And so here's the concern. Here's the thought process. Here's why we're talking about it. As adults, and that's where we're at. So as adults in this adult conversation, is there a problem with passing on or having young people at an early age? And when I'm saying young people, I'm talking about kids in high school, middle school, even elementary school, who have fallen in love with this fashion, the high price fashion. Is there a problem with that going on? Is there a problem with having an expectation of being able of having to spend large absorbent amounts of money just to feel comfortable around your peers? Is there a problem with us building up that type of world? How do we get here? How do we get here? The fashion, all of this. Well, it goes in ebbs and flows. When I was young, there was fashion, but putting big money out there wasn't a thing. That wasn't what made you cool. It was what combination of things you could put together. And so you always have to go to different places where they have little different things going on, where they have cheap stuff. Oh, we can all go to Walmart and get some cheap clothes and put it together. And, that's the thing. I remember when I was young, just regular old Hanes T-shirts, white T-shirts. That was the thing. You can get those cheap. Everybody could participate. Everybody could feel comfortable for the most part. Most people could afford to go and get a 6-pack of T-shirts for whatever the amount of money was and feel comfortable. Nowadays, you can't even do that. And from what I'm hearing from some of the young people, it's not even how much did your clothes cost. It is then the asking of where you got them from and how much did they cost. So it's not enough that you came in and you're looking good. It's how much does it cost? Or where did you get it from? Did you get it from one of these secondhand stores, or did you buy it for real? Was it on clearance? Nah. And we always had this as a pocket, a small pocket of the population, but now it seems like it's becoming more of the norm for more kids. So that pressure increases where you need to look a certain way or need to have a certain amount of money spent on clothing to feel okay, to feel comfortable, to be accepted. Is this a problem? Social media, the ability of kids to always be on TikTok and Instagram and all these different things exacerbated this problem. And so now you're seeing kids who are walking out here, oh, I got all this money, oh, I got all these nice clothes, and then they're putting it out there on social media. And that now becomes the standard. And we constantly have also reality shows. And that's a little bit of the older crowd, but still, you have reality shows when all they do is talk about how much money they have and that their fashion and everything like that. Before you could even put some blame into music, especially rap music, where you just had a constant barrage of people talking about how much money they had, how much this, how much that. And so you have this perfect storm and this combination of all of these things working in together. And of course, upward mobility, especially into the Black and brown community. You have Black people who are making money in different ways that they've never been making money before. You have more people of color making money, more people of color going to college and being able to get corporate jobs, or just going out here and making businesses and being able to just do a lot of different things. So you just have more involvement into that upward mobility. And you put a lot of money into these parents' pockets who are then kicking it back to their kids. And now these kids have an expectation. So you just have this perfect storm of all of these different things working together that's putting pressure and making it so that now, instead of buying clothes just to clothe your body, instead of having clothes, maybe with a little bit of fashion, spend a little bit of money here, where you're spending thousands of dollars to have a wardrobe. You're spending $500 to get one pair of shoes. You're spending $400 to get a t-shirt. You're spending $200 to get a pair of jeans. And people thinking that's reasonable. I have a comment. Could this be the reason some school systems are switching to uniforms? In the past, that was one of the things about the uniforms is making sure, one, you didn't have that pressure of clothing, especially for people who had different economic situations. And so, to put on that, is this one of the reasons? Yeah, because clothing can definitely be a distraction. People want their own style and individuality sometimes, but that can get in the way. But that pressure is one of the reasons, I think. One of the reasons that has been said before about school uniforms. I don't know exactly now if that's still the same push. I imagine that it is, because things don't change that much. But yeah, it's probably the reason. The uniforms. The irony is these kids, half of the clothes that they're buying, they're not even wearing. You look at a lot of these kids, they look very relaxed. They're wearing their socks with their sandals, or their socks with their flip-flops. They'll have on a t-shirt, just a regular plain t-shirt, and have on some sweatpants or some pajama pants, and that'll be their normal outfit, their normal routine for the days, and their normal routine when they go to school. But then when they want to look good, it is, oh, I got these $700 shoes with these, $200 jeans and this $400 shirt. And so the dynamic is weird and it's a little different, but the pressure is there. And so the question is then, for me and for adults, is what are we passing down to the younger group? Is that okay that we have young people thinking that you need to go to the store and get a belt, which is a regular old belt that costs $500? Is that okay that we're passing down this so materialistic and then high material type of mentality? I look back at some comments on some things as I was doing research for this, and you have some people who are saying, "Look, it's aspirational. It gives the young people something to look forward to. If I know that this is the lifestyle that I want to have, then I know that I have to be serious in the classroom, or I have to be serious in whatever I do in order to be able to get a lifestyle to keep up with this." Okay, okay, that was one standpoint. The other was you celebrate your success. It was like it's okay. You know, there were a lot of comments like, it's if it's only it's only a little bit. You what was it? You do your fashion when you go out, but then you know that's just when you go out. It's not an everyday thing. And so there's justifications and comments on that side. Uh, but then I look at back at the what's the point if you have to have such extravagant and such expensive taste in order to feel comfortable. That's the point more so where I'm coming at. The pressures of what we're putting out because of social media, because of what is out there on television, that you feel that unless you have a certain level of clothing, a certain level of money spent on your items, that your self-worth is a little bit low. I think there's some danger there when we're pushing that out. I think it's already, again, for me, it's already bad enough when it comes to social media, when you're looking at people's lives that's not realistic. But now that is starting to be caught up into with these school age kids, with these younger people who are trying to then buy these expensive items that they only because they see them online and on TV. To the point where you have kids who don't have the means, parents don't have the means, but they're going out here and they're getting jobs and they're working, not because they're working just to, I'm working to get a car. No, they're not doing that. Working so I can have a future. No, they're not doing that. They're working so that they can buy one item and look cool. And then they're working and buying another item so they can look cool, which means there's no savings going on. There's no experiences going on. Oh, I'm buying this so I can take a trip and do this and doing that. It's the equivalent of going to the prom every single day. And so if for a lot of young ladies, when they were going to the prom, they wanted to save up and buy this nice expensive dress for one night. Total waste of money. But for these kids, it's like that now every day. You're working all summer so you can buy a couple of nice shirts that are a ridiculous amount of money. And so it's the value system that we're sending down. Because if we're sending that down to them now, and if they're getting that from the online and television now, what are they going to get when they get a little older? What type of people are they going to be as they continue to develop and grow? And as adults and people of faith, what kind of value system are we passing down? Are we making a materialistic society? Are we putting the value of how things look above what they are, how things are versus how they look? I think it's problematic. I think that's a piece of the pie. When we constantly talk about what the kids are getting, when we're talking about that social media and all of that, and we're constantly talking about how bad that is, and we're constantly talking about keeping up with all of these other people. But are we exacerbating the problem by then also getting them so involved in clothing and the cost of all of this? I think it's a very weird space, but I think that the responsibility comes on the parents and the adults. As I talk to some of these young folk, and I didn't talk to a bunch. I hate to come on here and try to make it seem like I did a big broad survey where I talked to 500 different kids, but no, it wasn't that. But as I talked to some of the people, as they were expressing, some of these young people, as they were expressing, they were talking about what they do and the fashion and everything like that. I explained to them, look, I don't understand it because it was always do what you feel that makes you feel comfortable, and what looks good looks good. Like when I was young, I didn't wear a lot of logos. I didn't want to. And a lot of my friends, we didn't want to. So if you wanted to wear a green shirt with some black jeans that matched, you would just have a green shirt, no logo. and some black jeans because it looked good. But having the pressure of having a logo and a brand and all those different things on there, it takes away from what you just did. It takes away from you putting together a pattern or an outfit or a combination. And so now you're beholden to the fashion and not to who you are. And then it's the same respect when you have friends or you're getting into the dating scene, are people hanging out with you because of you or because of the logos? And so it really took away. And so trying to explain that back, explain that back to young people, like, I don't get it, because we didn't want all of that. We wanted it to be a little different. We wanted it to be more about us and less about somebody else. Because it's not about you when it's the brand. It becomes about the brand and not you. Like, oh, that guy looks good. Oh, he looks good because he looked good. Or, oh, that guy looks good. He looks good because he has on this brand and this brand and that brand and that brand. And so it takes away from you, and it's more about, what you can do, not who you are. Extravagance is an addiction of self-centeredness. Look at me. It's all about me. Yeah. And I think also it goes into confidence too. At the end of the day, I think, if you really are confident in yourself, if you're really confident in yourself, if you really are confident in who you are and kind of confident in your skin, then everybody doesn't need to look at you all the time. You don't have to be the center of attention because you're good. But even if you do feel like sometimes you want people to look at you, it's not about what you have. It's about who you are. So it's not about what you have on. Oh, look at me. And everybody likes to look good. I like to look good. Everybody likes to look good. But it shouldn't be, I look good because I have this rich old guy's name across my chest. I should look good because I just feel good about what I've done, how I put myself together, whatever. But I think that we are lacking in passing down some of the confidence that I think we need to pass down to folks. And not even just younger people, older people as well, everybody. You should feel confident. You should be buying a brand because you like the brand. You shouldn't be buying something because you feel like you have to keep up, or you feel like that's the requirement, or I live in such and such area, so I have to have this. One of the young people was explaining to me about the t-shirts. They were saying, look, we were talking about the white tees, because I was explaining, hey, I just wear white tees. And one of the young people I was talking to was explaining, they said, well, you can't just buy a white tee. They said that Target has these nice t-shirts, white t-shirts. And they're like, I can't remember the number. I think it was cheap. It was $4 a piece. Expensive to me, but it was $4 a piece for white t-shirts. They were like, and they feel so soft. They feel good. They were like, but you can't get those. You have to have the polo one that costs twice as much, 3 times as much, and they shrink, and so you only can wear them like once or twice. And I was like, dude, that's crazy. I mean, it's like, but that's what it is. So you can't even get what you like. You can't get the one that feels good, that's going to last long, that feels nice on your skin, that's not going to shrink out. You have to get the one that society told you was the one to get. And so the fact that we're putting our kids in that kind of predicament situation, and I say putting them in there, even though we know, for the most part, you're putting them in their self. But what is our responsibility to push back? What is our responsibility to continue to say, look, this is not the way that it should be, and what are we doing to make it this way? The number one thing that we're doing to make it this way is that we're allowing this social media world to take over. That was us. That was our fault. Everybody who was older, that is all of us. We allowed that to happen. The genie's out of the bottle. I don't think it's too much we can do about that. But to put back and to make sure that we're putting in that confidence and instilling that value system into our younger people, where it's not about the clothes, it's not about how much you spend on stuff that makes you who you are. I think that that's important to continue to put back. And then from the church, I mean, especially from the church, I think it's our responsibility to make sure that we put those same values back. How churches are, especially how Black churches are. I mean, we love to look good, I mean, I know there's a lot of churches who want to do dress down, but even with that, we love to look good. You know, back in the day, women coming in there with the nice dresses, the nice hats on, men coming in there with suits, all different flashy colors. You know, the Steve Harvey suits with 1,000 buttons going down. We know that people love to look good. You look on the pulpit, the fashion that's going on up there. And then you look outside, the cars and all of the jewelry, everything. When you're talking about the people just looking good, that's a big thing in the church. The problem is, are we putting down the message that, hey, we may be trying to look good, but it's not a necessity, it's not a requirement, and it's definitely not an obligation. Come as you are. And so I know that a lot of churches have changed and let people, you dress down and kind of took away some of that. But did we take away enough? Because if we're still trying to look cool in the parking lot, what is the message that we're bringing out to the young people? If we're still, certain people need to sit in certain places in the church. If you're looking good, you sit up front. If you're not, you got to get to the back. What message are we sending down? And so I think it's scary, the amount of money, and it's scary the pressure that these young people have to put under just to wear basic clothing. I could never imagine I'm a grown man. I got plenty of money to go out here and decide to buy what I want. Not, it's gonna hurt. I mean, it's gonna hurt. I might not eat lunch all week, but I can go out here and I can buy whatever I wanted, like fashion wise. There's no way I'm $500 for a pair of tennis shoes. No, that'll never happen. I don't think I've ever spent over $100 for tennis shoes. And so, so I'm special. I'm an outlier because I know most people have, or many people have. But that expectation that I would have to do that or want to do that, or with the children that I have, if they came to me with that kind of requirement, saying that this is what the other kids are doing, look, you can't do that, and especially at a young age, and you have the problem. I think sometimes is that we put that fashion and we put that pressure on our kids so early. We're in elementary school. They're walking around here with $100 pair of shoes and having multiple pairs of shoes and things like that, and clothing. We're putting that on those kids, and I think that's part of the problem. We don't need to do that at that young age. If they're going to choose to, be a fashionista, that's great, but they shouldn't be forced into a lifestyle of having to buy expensive clothing and try to keep up with the Joneses, because that's what we're projecting onto them. Another comment: what you have and what you do with what you have is an indicator of who you are. Is what you have and how you use what you have helping you to be a blessing? That's a good question. Yeah, because if all that fancy stuff at the end of the day, and if all that fancy stuff is hindering you from doing what you're supposed to do, then that's really the problem. You got this nice suit on, or you got these nice clothes on, but you can't, so nobody can touch you. You can't be around people who you think may not have what you have, or they're a little too dirty. You can't roll up your sleeves and do work because you might get your stuff dirty. Again, this is nothing new. Fashion has been around forever. This is nothing new. Young people have wanted to be cool forever. This is nothing new. People have been talking about money and I can't do this and that because I'm so fancy. That's been a thing forever. And so I'm not acting like this is something new. But I think it's different with the pressure that's coming in with social media and everything like that. And so, and as the comment is going on, I think now it is going to restrict you even more from being able to be who you are and do what you're supposed to do. You can't bless others if you're spending all of your time working on getting fashion. And then you can't bless others if you have to protect that fashion. You get a sweet car, but can't nobody ride in it because it won't be sweet if I let too many people get in my car, let too much people, touch my clothes. I can't hug you because I might mess up my threads here. I can't, And so, is it blocking you from being a blessing to others? That I guess that is the big thing. Is the money, or the chase for this money and the chase for this look and the chase for this fashion getting in the way of you being who you are and of you being a blessing to others? And if it is, then it's a problem. If it's not, then maybe it's not a problem. All right. Well, we're at our time. I don't know how everybody else felt, but I thought that was a good conversation. Because it's interesting sometimes talking to younger people, and I encourage all of you to do so. Kind of see where they're at when it comes to these expensive clothing items that so many young people are trying to get involved with and getting into. It's a big thing. You'd be surprised if you don't know the fashion scene. You may be looking at a kid walking around with $1,000 worth of clothes on, and you don't even know. Because I don't. But anyway, let's make sure we continue to have these conversations with young people. All right, as a reminder again, we're here every week, 8 o'clock for Impact 2024. If you have any ideas, any questions, any comments that you want to actually put into the show, please feel free to call us or email us and let us know. Always open for room for improvement. Thursdays at 7, we have Thursday Thirst. Sundays at 10 a.m. we have worship service, and then on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock we have prayer from 7 to 7:45. Please join us for all of the offerings that you can, whether it be one or all. And as always, we're here for Impact 2024. Please continue to join us. I thank you for being here, and please join us again.